You may be at a point where you're serious about getting started, and you may be wondering what to do next. Well, before you jump into some exercise regimen, you'll want to be sure to set yourself up for success. Today we're going to be talking about just that thing, the 3 most important things to consider before beginning any exercise regimen. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 2 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness level, so you can spend more quality time with your family, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. I'm excited to be hanging out with you today. I feel a change is a-coming. If you're watching on YouTube, I love reading the comments and the engagements because it keeps me motivated to help you more. And it gives me ideas for future shows. You are amazing, and I am thankful that you're here to share this experience today. We're going to kick things off today in high spirits with some valuable content that I believe will help you greatly. And before we get into it, the second most important aspect of health and fitness is, in fact, our nutrition. You may be looking for a different eating approach that you can actually live with and enjoy. Well, I developed an eating approach called Automate Your Plate that I used as a key component for when I lost 65 pounds of unwanted weight. Others that I've shared this with have also experienced great results. I teach people this as one of the key components in Fit Anyway Academy. However, I'm offering a free step-by-step checklist that you can begin using today as your quick start guide to automating your plate. It takes everything I teach in the course and in my book, and it expedites the process, and it breaks it down in actionable steps. That's it. It's amazing and simple and easy to follow. I'm giving it away today in hopes that you can quickly get it into your hands and begin using it as a jumpstart in beginning your weight loss journey. Just go to ethanlerock.com/automate, take the time to use the checklist, do the steps, and begin making some change in your life today. If you're watching today on YouTube, I'll provide a link down below. And if you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcast, just go to ethanlerock, that's my name, /automate and download it today. Okay, here we go. Today, I'm going to share with you the 3 most important things you need to consider before starting any exercise program. Number 1 is safety, which should involve a trip to your doctor. And that's regardless of your age, regardless of your current physical condition. I would always recommend that you go and you speak to your doctor, set up an appointment. The reason I say this is many people, they dive into an exercise program. They don't go see their doctor. And there's things that get missed that can set you up for failure. So when you go to your doctor, the doctor's going to do certain things that you normally wouldn't do. He's going to check your blood level. He's going to check your heart. He's going to listen to your heart. He's going to listen to your lungs. He's going to ask you some probing questions about, what kind of physical activity you currently do. And usually the doctor could give you some really good insight into what maybe you should be doing or what maybe you should be avoiding at this time. I'm assuming you have a good doctor who's, conscious of what's needed to be healthy in the world. Most doctors are pretty educated on that, so they should be able to give some good guidance there. But the important thing is they can do some blood work on you to get started. What's your cholesterol level at? Do you have diabetes? What's your hormone levels at? Do you have low testosterone or low estrogen? Or there's many things that they check for that can help prevent a whole bunch of problems, right? If you have, deficiencies, they can catch it early and help, put you on a plan to get on the right path to where you need to be. Now, you taking control and doing your own thing with your health, with your eating habits and with your exercise, and with your mental well-being even, those are all good things. But without going to your doctor first and getting some guidance, there's some real risk there. And I need to be honest with you about that. Many people jump into fitness programs and they have no idea what their physical condition is. And it can lead you down a path that's, not very good. So it's worth the time. It's worth a little bit of inconvenience to go see your doctor, have the conversation, say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about starting this exercise program. Let's get it checked out, get you on the scale. Maybe he or she'll weigh you, check your heart, listen to your lungs, set you up for some blood work, and set you on a path where you're going into this thing safely, right? We don't want to go into an exercise program without first having ourselves looked at. It's like anything. It's like anything in life. Getting into a car and learning how to drive. You don't just jump in and they throw the keys at you and you go and you're going everywhere. There's a process, and the first step is the fundamentals. Do you know how everything works, right? So the doctor's going to take you in and they're going to do the full Monty on you. They're going to check you from top to bottom and make sure you're good and that you get the clean bill of health to go. And that's really what I'm getting at. You need to be safe in your approach. And the second thing, part of that safety, it's a little bit, I'm not trying to be controversial here, but if you are of a certain age, okay, which is the majority of my audience are people that are, over 40 and moms and dads and trying to take back their lives. We want to make sure that the exercise program we're going to select is geared towards somebody of that age. And the reason I say this, it has to be safe, is through experience. You don't want to jump into something where you're really exerting your body, putting yourself through a lot of high impact movement, where you can damage your joints, where you can damage your tendons. You need to make sure that what you choose is safe. And it may be attractive. I know me personally, for example, the idea of going out, I love physical activity. So the idea for me to go into something like for example, a CrossFit, I'm 51 years old. But the idea in my mind of going into a CrossFit and doing all these hyperactive movements, okay, the idea of doing boot camp training where I'm flipping tractor tires and I'm doing all these really aggressive movements, it's attractive to me. I like that idea. I like the competitive idea. I like the competitive nature of it all. But the problem is, if I did that, it wouldn't be safe for my body at my age. That's the reality of it. And it's not a controversial thing. It's just reality. I'm not saying that when you're older you should limit yourself. You shouldn't. I push myself to the limits quite a bit. But you need to do it in an educated way. You need to make sure that you're being safe in what you're choosing to do. And that's what I do in all my exercise approaches that I use. I always make sure, I always err on the side of safety. And it comes from a lifetime of experience. That's what you're getting from watching these videos with me. You're getting 30, I think at 37 years I've been training, you're getting all that experience. So you don't want to be putting yourself through something that, a 20-year-old is doing. You're going to get a different outcome. You may gain muscle, you may gain, it may feel good at first, but many times what'll happen is it'll result in an injury that really sets you back. So with that being said, the next really important thing to consider is that, and this is something you're not going to hear from any fitness instructors or health, practitioners out there, that whatever you choose to be your program that you follow for exercise and for, physical activity, it needs to be in line and congruent to who you are. It needs to suit your spirit or your personality, and you need to really, before you dive in, you need to think about, what would I enjoy? What is in line with what I care about in life when it comes to, physical activity? What would I do, right? What would I keep doing? What would be congruent with what I like? Am I doing this just for the sole purpose of losing weight? Or am I doing this just for the sole purpose of vanity or looking good? Or is this something that I really would enjoy doing and I've always been interested in? To me, it's after safety. That is the most important thing. It's not about what does Ethan LeRock do in the gym. It's not about what this other person does in the boot camp or what that person does in the CrossFit. It's about who you are. It's about what's congruent with your spirit and with the way you act in the world. It's, for example, some people decide to take up yoga because of age, right? You're older, yoga is slower movements, and so take up yoga. But if you're a person who can't sit still, and there's some arguments still there that yoga could help you with that. But if you're a person that isn't made to be in a room with other people, and doing slow movements and going through because there's a lot to it. Yoga is a very deep practice. There's a lot of spirituality involved. There's a lot of different mindsets involved. And if that's something you've always been interested in, because that's something I wouldn't mind doing it. It's something I'd be very interested in. I'd be very congruent with it. But if you're somebody who just can't buy into it, then it's not something you should be doing. And the same argument can be made for what I do, working out in a gym. If you're a person who has always believed in spirituality and want to connect more with that, and then want to somehow join that with your physical activity, then the gym probably isn't where you want to be. The gym is more about physical activity where you're putting a load on your muscles and putting yourself through a resistance of some sort, with the idea solely of building the muscles bigger so that you can burn more calories once the muscles are bigger. And that's the mindset, and that's what I do, right? But if you're a person that's always liked something more, you want something deeper, then yoga or Tai Chi or something like that would be a good activity for you to do. And there's a million things you could be doing, on the physical level. If you're somebody who's always loved to dance, then do that. Go out, find a studio, find somebody that teaches dance, and just baby step it in. Once a week, go to a session or a lesson, and just express yourself. Do something that makes you feel happy and makes you feel joy, and something you like to do. And it's congruent with your spirituality and your personality, because you're going to want to do it, and you're going to stick to it, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to feel like you're in line with what you should be doing, and it's a physical thing. And that's a good place to be, because it sets you up for success. It sets you up for dedicating more than just 2 weeks and then quitting. It sets you up for a lifetime of doing what you should be doing and keeping yourself in shape. So the last thing that I would say, the third thing to consider and really consider before you start doing any kind of a program, is that it's something you can do efficiently and that you have good access to. There's nothing worse than coming up with an idea for your physical health, for going out, some sort of workout program or physical activity you're going to do. And it's always cumbersome. It's cumbersome to get to it. It's cumbersome. It's far away. You got to drive 20 minutes. You have to wait for somebody. You have to rely on other people. And it all depends. You don't want to have it complicated, something you won't do. It needs to be accessible, and my rule for me is it has to be within 7 minutes of my house or 7 minutes of my work. That way, if I have to drive there, I'm driving 7 minutes and 7 minutes. I'm about 15 minutes at tops. I've learned this the hard way over time, because I used to go to a gym. I've signed up for gyms that are 30 minutes from my house. And again, I'm talking gym. Doesn't mean you have to go to a gym. It could be you take ice skating. But if it's 30 minutes away from your house and you're going to think you're going to go to it, what usually happens is about the first 2 weeks, you'll go and you'll enjoy it. And you'll be, going, everything's going along really nice. But then what happens is time starts going by. And this idea of 30-minute drive becomes like a dread that you have, honestly. You have to take my word on it. It's not good. So when you limit the drive, the commute, to like 7 minutes or less, you really, really set yourself up for something that you're going to continue doing because it is accessible. And the other thing, it has to be efficient. So whatever you're doing, it needs to be something that you can get in and you can get out in an hour or less. It can't be something that is tying you up and there's this whole ordeal before you can get through the process. Because again, from experience, I know that if I go somewhere there where everything that I'm doing, let's say I go to a gym, because I'm a gym guy, and the gym is always full of people and all the equipment, people are always all over it, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm frustrated and I can't get access to what I need. And I'm the kind of person, I improvise. Like if I see something that's, it's all tied up, I will think, what else can I be doing right now that I can get the same workout? It'll work the same muscle in the same way, the same effectiveness, and I can keep my momentum going while I'm here. I do that because I have experience in the gym, right? I can look around and I can tell exactly what I need. And if that isn't ready, I can go and get that. Well, that's where you need to get to if you're doing something like in the gym, for example. You need to be in a place where it's efficient. And if you're working out at a place, maybe because it's cheaper, for example, and it's crowded and you can't get on the equipment, my advice to you would be find another place close by that isn't as busy and isn't as crowded, and it'll let you get from point A to point Z and get your butt out of there without tying you up for the whole day. It's got to be something for an hour or less. So those are the three most important things I wanted to share with you today. They really are important. You need to be safe about what you're doing. You need to go see the doctor. You need to pick a workout program that is within, that's good for your age and for your physical condition. You need to make sure that whatever you pick is in connection with who you are, your personality, your spirituality, whatever you want to call it, but something you're going to be congruent with and consistently do. And the third thing, you have to make sure it's an exercise, activity that you can get to quickly and not have to drive 20, 30 minutes to. It should be within 7 minutes of your home or your work. And whatever it is you choose to do, it should be something that doesn't have a bad flow, that it's smooth, it's efficient. You can get in and you can get out and get on with your day. So those are the three most important things you should consider before starting any exercise program. And again, if you're looking for a new and exciting eating approach that you can begin using to lose all that unwanted weight, I've put together a free step-by-step checklist that you can download today. Just go to ethanlerock.com/automate and download it today. I hope this served you today. And by all means, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave me some comments. Please leave me some ideas you may want for future shows, because I do read all the comments and I go through them and I will use them for future shows. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave me a review, leave me some comments, and I'll look at those as well. And hopefully you'll see something show up in a future show that you want to see. So until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention every single day.